should tell you too is I thought about doing bloopers. Or like a little behind the scenes.
Okay, yeah. That'll be fun. Oh, you do it at the beginning?
I think I would.
Okay. Well, we have to say something funny. I
mean,
could slurp my tea.
Even just like funny stuff. The tea is about to be spilled today. One of their aircrafts.
Aircrafts.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Unpredictable. Today we have a guest, Kristen Yoder. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Kristen, why don't you tell us a little bit about your family?
All right. I have a mom and a dad. Mike and Trina Yoder, yes. And I have 4 siblings. I have an older brother, and then it's me, and then a younger sister, and 2 younger brothers. So,
okay.
That's us.
Sounds like a good family.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your hobbies?
Oh boy, I feel like I have so many. Like, okay, I like to draw or I like to do anything artistic. I'm into crocheting.
Really?
Yeah, I like
Can you teach me how?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I actually want to learn.
Yeah, it's so fun.
It was so stupid. I was at a friend's house, and I told them, you know those spiky things that you can get for like either making hats or scarves?
Mm-hmm.
So, what are they called? Do you know?
I have no idea. I just know what you mean.
Okay. Well, I was trying to look that up for a scarf one. I just was like, it's pokey things that you can just put things around. And she was like, I was asking her what they're called, and she was like, you mean like a scarf thing? Like, it's literally in the name that it's a scarf maker type thing. I don't remember what it was called. So it was more funny when she said it because she actually knew what it was called. But anyways, you should teach me that sometime.
Yes, I will.
Anyways, continue.
Someday. That's it.
Okay. Solid.
Yeah.
What do you do for work?
I work at, it's a place called the Print Shop. We do like printing, screen printing, embroidery on shirts, whatnot, stuff like that.
Did you know I clean there?
Yeah. Okay, she always says Karina, and I don't like. I thought, oh, it just has to be a different Karina.
Oh, are you only there Mondays though?
Mondays and Thursdays, yeah.
Okay, I'm there on Tuesdays, so we've never crossed paths.
Yeah.
But I was waiting for you to say that because I was like, I don't think she knows that I clean there.
I knew that a Karina did, but I didn't know if it was you.
Okay, it's me.
Hooray! Well, and I work at the Travel Mug.
So you work at the Print Shop Mondays, Thursdays, Travel Mug, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays?
Tuesdays and Fridays. And then Wednesdays, I teach art class at school.
Oh, nice.
My old school.
All right. Anyways, a little bit of context about how we know each other. You want to tell them?
Sure.
Okay.
We grew up together, I guess. Went to church together.
Mm-hmm.
Youth together.
Did we go to youth group together?
For a tiny bit. When I was like 15, yeah.
Okay.
When I was a wee little squirt.
A wee little squirt.
Spry little girl. Anyways. Yeah. What else?
I think just from church and stuff.
Yeah.
They actually, how old were you guys when you moved to Canada? How old were you?
I was 6 when we moved to Canada, and then I was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I was like, maybe I was 7 when we moved to Canada. And then I was like 10 or 11 when we moved back.
Okay. That's when they moved back, I feel like, is when I remember them the most.
Yeah. I don't really remember you before that, honestly.
Mm-mm.
Maybe seeing you here and there, but I used to get you and Kirsten mixed up all the time.
I don't understand that.
I don't either.
I have not had Kirsten on. But some people think we're twins. We don't look anything alike.
Mm-hmm. But maybe more when you were younger.
Yeah. All right. You ready to get into the podcast?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
All right. Here we go. So, guys, this is kind of going to just be a podcast on conspiracy theories. And then after we're done with that, I don't know what's going to happen. because we're not exactly sure how long it'll go because we didn't study a ton. We just have some conspiracy theories that we were like, hey, let's do a podcast about it. Why don't you start with one of the ones that you want to talk about, and we can just.
Okay, I think this one is so interesting. And just before I say anything, I don't know half the information I'm sure that's out there. I was reading all these articles about this, and people have literally studied this for their entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Like years and years and years that have gone into studying this one
specifically. Yeah, disclaimer, at least I know for me, and I think that's kind of what she's saying too, is all we know is from what little research we've done. Like, we are not experts at all. Don't take our words for whatever. Just kind of a fun thing to talk about and just be like, I don't know, is that true? Yeah. You know? That's what we're doing today. It's just kind of a fun little thing. Some of them I feel like could be pretty intense statements, but they're not necessarily from us. We're just talking about those statements. So,
yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
Anyway, so this one is about if John F. Kennedy was assassinated by the NCIS, or was it an inside job? So I studied a little bit. I don't really know a whole lot. Did we talk about this earlier?
A little bit, but I only know of this because of you. Oh. So I know nothing.
Yeah. Okay, so he was assassinated on November 22 of 1963 by Lee Harvey Oswald. And 2 days after, so they caught this guy like right away. He shot him from like a 6th-story building or something out of a window. And
was this guy in the parade? Or is that a different guy? Yeah.
Yeah, they were like doing something through he was driving through and waving at people.
Okay.
Or something. I don't really know. In Texas. This was in Texas, by the way. And oh yeah, they found the guy right away, and they found the shotgun that he used, and they found a couple shells on the floor. So, I mean, I think it was pretty clear that it was him. And so, but then he got caught, and 2 days later, before he was tried in court or anything, somebody else killed him. This other guy, let me see. I have his name. Jack Ruby. Yeah, Jack Ruby killed him. He shot him when he was like getting transported or something. And he just said that it was because he was protecting the president, I guess, which the president was already dead, but no, he wasn't like protecting him. He was what's the word?
Guarding?
Oh, I guess he was like standing up for the country or whatever. Mm-hmm. Because he was like killing the bad guy. Yay. So anyway, what else? I feel like I'm so scattered.
No, you're totally fine.
Oh, this just blows my mind every time. Makes it seem a little suspicious. So the president, this is gonna get kind of gory. Is that fine?
Yeah.
I mean, it's real life, so.
Yeah, so we just said it's gonna get gory. So if you don't want to hear this part, skip ahead
yeah,
a minute, 30 seconds,
something like that. Anyway, proceeding. The president was shot he was shot like in the neck and then through the head. His brains splattered on the car. Yeah. Anyway, part of his brain did. Huh?
Said dang.
Oh, yeah. And then, so then he was taken, rushed to the hospital, whatever. And apparently, there's been claims that the doctor, or not the doctor, the autopsy people or whatever, they took out the rest of his brain and put it in like a metal box for further investigation. So, anyway, that was ordered to keep in the White House. So it was in the White House for a while, for like 2 years or something. And it wasn't really looked at as far as I know. But 2 years later, out of the blue, Kennedy's brother, I think his name was Richard, maybe? Robert was his name. Robert just suddenly was like, move the brain to the National Archives. So they did because, I don't know, I guess he was in charge of his brother's brain. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so he moved it to the archives, and not a year later, whenever they went and did like inventory or whatever they do of everything that's there, it was missing. It just
Dang.
disappeared. It's nowhere to be found. So that seems a little
So they
suspicious to
still
me.
can't find it now.
No, it's gone. They've not seen it since.
So is that the end of it then? Or no?
The end of my theory?
Yeah, the story. I was going to ask, so what's the conspiracy theory
The
about
conspiracy
this?
theory is that the NCIS murdered the president. So whenever I think of the conspiracy theory and hear something like that, I think like, what would be the reason? Like, why would the American people or police or whatever murder their own president?
Mm-hmm.
So I looked into that a little bit more, and apparently, so there had been, this is all during the Cold War and everything. There's just tensions kind of everywhere,
Okay.
and especially with Cuba, right? Because that's
don't ask me,
okay.
bro. I don't know any of this stuff.
So anyway, the Cold War was like Russia was setting up stuff in Cuba, like nuclear things, and everyone was scared. So the NCIS wanted to go and assassinate the leader, dictator, I don't know, the head guy of Cuba. And Kennedy was like, I don't really want you to do that. You should not do that for multiple reasons. And the theory is that apparently they got fed up with him being like, no, I don't want you to go and kill this other president. And so they're like, we're going to kill him.
Ooh,
apparently.
Okay.
Also, an interesting fact, or according to the internet, not
by
if the internet is true.
Right, yeah.
Oswald, the main guy who killed him, was killed 2 days later. He was like, he would go to like these Russian like party things, like they would meet and talk about politics, and he was for Russia. So that seems a little suspicious as well. And then the guy who killed Oswald. So else you'd say, why would he kill Oswald? That's kind of stupid that he would just kill him just to like get his revenge, even though everything's already been done. But he had a history of doing this, and he was friends with some policemen in like Dallas. Or he had connections. I don't know if I would say like friends,
right,
but he knew them.
Okay.
So that seems a little suspicious as well. And it could be that they all knew that Oswald was paid to do this, and they were like, well, the court or whatever can't actually find this out, so we're going to pay you to kill him so he can't be questioned.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just a little bit of ideas that I've heard.
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true. I believe that one more than I believe a lot of them because it makes sense, kind of.
Yeah.
To an extent.
That's a good one. All right, the next one. Let's talk about vaccines, the COVID vaccine. So I listened to a podcast. They're fairly new. I think it's called Conspiracy Theories About Everything. And there's only like 6 or 7 episodes.
I listen to them, yeah.
You do? Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's where I got like Area 51 from.
Yeah, I saw that one. I didn't listen to it. That's where I got some of my mood landing stuff too.
Okay. I almost listened to that one today, so I would know a little bit more, but then I didn't.
I felt like I knew most of what was said already.
Okay.
But yeah, it was good.
So they did one about vaccines. So I guess some of the like story is, COVID happened, to get some help, get a vaccine. According to them, they said that the vaccine, or at least I think it's the COVID vaccine, that it like gives you a tiny bit of COVID, but then it like
that's how any vaccine works.
Yeah. Okay. It gives you a tiny bit of whatever virus they're trying to fight off, so that it can fight off that little part of it, so that your immune system gets used to it or knows how to fight it. So where am I going with this? So I guess normal, like I feel like as a kid, you're getting shots for the most part. And so there's all kinds of different vaccines. just the COVID vaccine, I guess, has not been studied near as long. Like, what was it? Was it even a year before they came out with the vaccine?
I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it. I better not say because I don't even know.
Yeah, I have no idea. It feels like they didn't have years. Normally, I feel like they have years to test.
Well, COVID wasn't like a year. Like it felt like it was pretty short. I mean, it felt long in the moment, but it seems like from when it started to when it ended, or when we were allowed to go do things, it wasn't even hardly.
Yeah.
Was it a year?
Well, so yeah, it wasn't a year. I don't even remember. So it happened in my 12th grade year, and we just finished Ohio. I think Ohio's normally in January or February, and then we had to homeschool until the rest of the year. Like the conspiracy theories, I guess, about this vaccine particularly, I think is just tracking. Like they could track you more, which think about it, what else do they need? They always have we always have our phones on us. And your phone's always listening. Your microphone's always on. So why would they need it more? And I've heard supposedly the new some of the Samsung TV things have cameras in them. That's a conspiracy theory. I don't know that. For me,
I've
it's a
also heard
conspiracy
that
theory.
iPhones take a picture of you every couple seconds.
That's terrifying.
Don't know if that's true. Just heard that on Instagram, so it could be faulty.
So who knows? But yeah, so a lot of these things. So okay, so that's the tracking one. They don't really need to track us any more than what they do because they already can see us and hear us.
But what if we find out that they are tracking us and then we try and run away? Then they know where we are.
Are we gonna have our phones or no?
No, because we know that they're tracking us now.
Yeah. Then that's the way they could do it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So then, some of it also was trying to have a child or trying to get pregnant is harder if you have the vaccine or, yeah. I feel like those were the main conspiracy theories, but I think they came to the conclusion that there's a lot of people that just don't know much at all about this vaccine, and so people are scared to take it, which is valid. Like, you want to know kind of what you're taking into your system before you do it. But then on the podcast, they were like, why you eating McDonald's? If you're scared of vaccines, you shouldn't be going to fast foods and stuff. Which is kind of valid. But it's like, maybe we just have guesses of what that meat is, and we're just like, oh well, because it tastes good. I don't know. You never know what you're eating at
I'm
McDonald's.
Scared now. Never eating chicken nuggets again.
That's
just
not
kidding.
True.
I
will. The main thing I think they came to conclusion of with all these conspiracy theories is because there's conspiracy theories, they don't know, so they speculate and come up with these theories. And where they came to was people just don't know, and so they're scared, which I feel like is valid.
Also, one thing I heard them say on their other one was the more people involved in a conspiracy theory or in the whole thing around the conspiracy theory or the moon landings, there's so many people involved in that. If it was actually fake, it's going to come out somewhere, right? Because there's so many witnesses or people who would know the truth probably.
Right.
So for that, I feel like it kind of is the same.
Yeah.
So this one also, I feel like I even have less information on this one than I did the whole Kennedy assassination stuff. But was the Twin Towers an inside job? Is also something I've heard. Or probably most people have heard of that. I don't know.
I didn't hear about it until you, but I also do not follow politics or anything like that, really. Yeah. So
anyway, the theory goes, so who was president at this time? Was it Bush? You probably have no idea.
I think you asked me that last time.
Yeah,
and I was like, I have no idea.
Anyway,
I was not alive yet, so during the Twin Towers.
When were you born?
I was born in 2002.
I see.
You weren't born either. No, why are you acting surprised? Do you think I'm old? No, it's fine. I'll leave that in there.
Anyway, so the theory goes that the president at this time, I don't remember his name, so his family and him and people in his life, I guess, were really big into the oil industry. And the main producer of natural oil, I guess, is Saudi Arabia. And it goes that Saudi Arabia flew the plane into the Twin Towers. And apparently, a couple days before the towers were hit, the president, our president, had a meeting with the leader of Saudi Arabia. And nobody knows what it was about, apparently. Don't know if I believe that. That feels kind of made up to me. I don't really know why. But, anyways, you can craft that out too.
Why?
I don't know. Anyway.
Okay.
Yes, he had a meeting with the leader of Saudi Arabia. And then a few days later, the towers were hit. So people speculate that okay, so then after the towers were hit, then apparently we went and started a war with Saudi Arabia, and we kind of won and got a lot of oil out of Saudi Arabia. So people say he told the leader of Saudi Arabia to fly the towers into our buildings so he would have a reason to start a war and therefore get all the oil out of Saudi Arabia. That makes sense, I guess, but then my thoughts would be, why in the world would the leader of Saudi Arabia just be like, oh yeah, I'll send a few of my men into your planes
Yeah.
to die so you can steal all my oil? That really doesn't make very much sense.
Yeah.
But if you think about the president of one of like a pretty big country like the United States coming to you to another leader of a different country and saying, I'm going to pay you, or I'm going to do this and this and this so that you will come and, so I'm asking you to come and destroy my own country or destroy parts of my own country. And some people would say that he did it purely out of the joy of seeing the president of the United States betraying his own people. Is it true? Is it not? Who's to say?
That's a pretty good one. That's a good
Yes.
one.
There's also I heard that in Building 7, I believe was one of the Twin Towers. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you know?
Sorry, what?
Was Building 7 like one of the Twin Towers?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, we'll just pretend that is. Um Apparently they were doing some like elevator repairs that day, and so the elevators were closed, and people say that they think that they put explosives in the elevators when they were repairing them, and it whenever the planes hit, then they exploded them to help it look more drastic. And then I don't know. I mean, you don't see it from the outside, but people say that they exploded them to make it more destruction fall whenever the planes hit whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also something. And then whenever they tested, you can like test the ashes of burned stuff, I guess, and see if it has like traces of dynamite or like explosives in it. And apparently they did that, and there was. So, I mean, it could have been, they could have put extra explosives on the planes, and that could be what it was, or they could have actually
That's true.
exploded elevator shafts to make it look like it fell better. And when it fell, it just felt like straight down.
How do you know?
I don't know if that's how buildings fall normally or not.
How do
I
you
don't know if
know?
they just like
How do you know
flop
it's not
over.
that way?
I don't know. Isn't there videos?
Oh.
That's what I hear. That's what the internet tells me, okay?
Okay.
We're just gonna roll with it.
All right.
And yeah, that's so I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not. Maybe the government is gonna come and steal me out of my bed tonight because I said this. Who knows?
The government doesn't listen to this.
They might. They're
I'm
listening
not
on our
that
phones.
popular.
I'm
That's
telling
true.
you.
That's true. We might get kidnapped tonight.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And they've been checking my browsing history probably because I've been Googling an insane amount of things about this.
Yeah. Oh, there was one. One of the podcasts that I had listened to, there was a lot of conspiracy theories going around, and so they shut down. That is our heater. Oh my, I'm so sorry to interrupt this moment. The reason our heater is on because it is currently 32 degrees outside and we had our first snow. Crazy.
So excited. Thrilled.
It would have been nice, but it rained before this and so it was icy this morning on top of like underneath the snow. But other than that, the snow was kind of pretty. But now it's melting.
Yeah.
So tough. And that's why our heater's on because it's 32 degrees. It was 22 degrees earlier today. Anyways.
What a great way to kick off November.
Yeah.
Right, it's November.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the podcasts they said was that like they shut down this person's Instagram or was like, "Hey, you got to take this stuff off. Like we can't keep letting fake information that's not true out there." Anyways,
well, they ban anything on Instagram now.
Yeah. Area 51. Maybe that was, I bet you that was the podcast that they were saying. So Area 51 is supposedly this military base that was supposed to be top secret, but now everybody knows where it's at and knows about it. Supposedly there was someone that was like, hey, let's go raid Area 51. They can't kill all of us, so let's go. And there was like, I think a couple hundred that were like, yes, I'll do it.
They got the military couldn't kill a few hundred people.
Yeah. And then they were like, there was a couple like 1,000 or something that was interested in this event. Like it was a Facebook event that this guy planned. And so the day came and they got there and I think there was only like 100 people. I mean,
did they all die?
No, they didn't. And there was only like, I feel like there was only like 5 or 7 arrests or something. Like there was not that many.
So it's actually it was supposed to be a secret military base.
Yeah. But if it's actually a secret military base, you're not going to know about it. So so I think this one was too where they were like, do we put this spot on like Google Maps? Do we show that part if it's a secret military base? And I think they said, like, I think they came to the conclusion of like, why not? But if it was actually a secret military base, you wouldn't know about it. The public won't know.
True,
yeah. But so it's kind of about Area 51. Area 51 doesn't in itself really have conspiracy theories that I know of, but I guess over that time where it was mainly a bigger thing, there was more sightings of aliens or like aircrafts that were like circular and stuff. And so that's a conspiracy theory that aliens existed. Like there was a crash or something and then they would see like a human or that looks like a child come out or something. Or
wait, a human would come out of the crash?
Mm-hmm. And
then people saw this?
Yeah, supposedly. And then they would see the crash and they were like circular. Okay. So that's the conspiracy that aliens and UFOs are real. But then another conspiracy was that Area 51 was where they did a lot of like testing for different things. So they tested different shapes of aircrafts. So maybe one of their aircrafts,
aircrafts.
One of their aircrafts was just a circular one, just to do testing. So they were like, "Oh my word, it's a UFO," when it really was like just a spacecraft from Area 51, not aliens.
Why wouldn't the government be saying we were just testing this? Like, why would they even?
I don't know. Maybe it's for futuristic stuff.
Maybe, but they could have at least said they were testing it.
Yeah, but then they would know. If it's secret stuff, you're not supposed to know.
Oh, you're right, because it was supposed to be a secret military base. Makes sense. Yeah.
So then, like, they would they would have people test stuff. So, humans would be in there, or I don't know.
Babies?
No, not
Human
babies.
babies?
I don't really understand that area of it all. But or sometimes they said that they would have human like things as their testers, as the human testers.
Robots?
No. They weren't robots. They had like they
How do
were
you
like
know?
because they described it. They described what texture those the humans
Texture.
were or something. It was like a rubbery type of thing.
Did they feel them?
No, that's how they just described their like instead of dummies, they made dummies. They made their
I'm
personal
sorry, I'm
dummies.
not understanding
Like
you.
instead of an actual human going in the craft,
Mm-hmm.
they made dummies
That had rubbery skin?
that looked like human skin,
Oh,
but
so
it
you're
wasn't.
saying, okay. I understand. I got you.
So that might have been like maybe they, which actually I just saw. I don't know if any of you guys watched Blacklist. They did just do. This is kind of where like AI kind of comes in. Okay, they on the episode they had totally human. She looked like exactly like a human. Her name was Chrissy, and she was used for not good things. Okay, but so whenever the cops found this robot, they thought it was a real girl that like was killing people. And when they shot her or pushed her over, she started like having like sparks come out and she was like seething or something. So they were like, I caught it instead of her. So that's what exactly these little humans, aliens, could have been. Looked like humans, looked like kids, but they weren't. They were robots. You just didn't know. They were AI.
Also, why would they like make them look super realistic if they're just testing stuff and it could have a high percentage of them crashing?
I don't know.
It's just a
Another
theory.
testing thing.
Hmm.
You know, they gotta test their robots.
Yeah, this is
This
true.
we can go into AI.
Oh
How do you feel
goodness.
about AI?
I'm scared. I'm scared for my future.
There was this is a whole different podcast, but they were talking about how I think this AI gave like a command or they're saying now that like you'll get phone calls that your sibling or your parent said this and this and it's a voice and it's like it sounds like everything's correct, but it's
Mm-hmm.
actually an AI. Or another cool one they said was they're starting to be able to pull up fake documents or they'll like in different they're like depending where you go there's always like security cameras and so they can easily set up an incident that you did, a crime that you did whenever it wasn't, but because these AI smart computers you can do whatever you want on them, they can make you look like you need jail time when you're innocent.
I heard a story of this mom who got a call and it was like her daughter screaming. You heard this? Okay. It was like her daughter screaming on the other end of the line, and this guy's like, "You gotta pay us so much money, or else we're gonna kill her, or whatever, whatever." And like, she heard her daughter's voice, and she was freaking out, and her daughter was sitting upstairs the whole time, and they got her voice and used it and made it sound like it was her.
AI is about to take over the world.
Okay, I'm scared of Snapchat because
Oh yeah,
that
they're
stupid AI thing.
yeah.
I don't like it. And you can like use that filter thing now where it like make like pictures of you or what is it called? I don't remember, but like you use AI and then it will like have you like doing random stuff. Like it'll show pictures of you and like have your face.
That's terrifying.
Probably that they could have done that for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of take pictures of ourselves all the time, so
Right.
yeah, I'm scared though.
Yeah. There was like one of the stories that they said in this podcast was there's a group of these people that like were working on this computer or whatever, and it was just taking over. And they had a plan, like they couldn't kill themselves. This computer would not let them kill themselves or something. I don't know if it was computer. I don't really know what it was. I was kind of confused by the
Wait.
story. But they were all planning to commit suicide or something.
Oh, okay.
And they all did it except one guy failed. And now he was just like he was not he couldn't harm himself no matter how much he wanted to now. Because the smart AI
was controlling him?
Yeah.
His brain. It was
Yeah,
controlling his brain?
I don't know. It was a weird story. Sorry,
Is this
I'm not very
true?
good. It's a conspiracy theory.
Oh, okay.
Conspiracy theory.
I've also heard. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. A long time ago, the vaccines. I've heard that it's them putting like chips into you, like microchips or whatever,
The
so they
tracking
can.
thing?
No, no. Let me finish. So that they can. They're like been testing out this thing for like paralyzed people. If they put like this thing on you, or I don't know if it's like hooked up to your brain,
Mm-hmm.
they can make you like unparalyzed while you're on this thing. Like it'll
Dang.
like make your certain nerves or muscles move whenever your brain will like make connections or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've heard this seems I don't know if there's like any proof for this, but I've heard that they're like doing that as a step further in like controlling people, because once they have all this stuff in you, then they can hook it up to their machines and then they can control your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole like guys, literally, I mean, you guys probably know this. The world literally controls us. The music you listen to,
Let's not even.
that's what
Are we getting into this
that's what
today?
frequencies is coming into. And since it
Mm.
like came into that, we'll talk about it. So, think about how you feel if you're listening to um like pop culture or whatever, how you're feeling then. Or if you listen to Christian contemporary, or then if you listen to more slow music, sad music, you feel different ways. You're in different moods when you listen to that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that is purposeful. That is them controlling you right there. They want you to listen to specific things so that you feel certain ways. And that's not necessarily, I don't know if that's necessarily singers, but I wouldn't almost be surprised.
Well, yeah, it's just kind of like a fact of life that like certain musics do make you feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And like, do you want to get into the whole like spiritual realm type of stuff?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Also, I wonder how much like music. I didn't read this distinctly in the Bible. Like, so I don't know like a verse in a whatever to tell you. But I think that in heaven before Satan fell, he was like the the angel who was like the leader of all the music in heaven.
Okay.
And he fell, and so what's he's good at? He's gonna use music for what he wants to, which is
Mm-hmm.
obviously not what God wants.
Yeah.
So I often wonder like how much of the music that is like popular or like just I don't know, famous. No,
Right.
that's not the right word. Popular or like that's big on the internet or like
Yeah.
everyone listens to.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it is actually like something from Satan. And people will be like, "Oh no, it's just like music. It can't really make that big of a difference." But like I honestly believe that it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like whenever I say music doesn't affect me, I feel like I don't know if it necessarily affects how I act, but it for sure affects how I feel. Which, if I'm angry, you know,
And how
that can
you
affect how I act.
and how you think too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Mhm. I agree.
It's all, the world's literally controlling us. What are we doing? We're literally robots. I mean, not under Christ, though. Praise the Lord above.
Amen.
Amen. So yeah, so she brought up spiritual stuff. So now we can jump into, is Bigfoot real? Kristen, what do you
I would
believe?
venture to say no. Not the Bigfoot that everybody thinks is real.
Okay. Yeah, I was
But
listening to, I forget what they're called, Blurry Creatures podcast. They talked about Bigfoot, and they've had people on the podcast that have had encounters and stuff. Some of them have had good encounters, and some of them have not. But one of the guys was saying that whenever you think of Bigfoot, it's always this huge ape gorilla thing. And he's like, that's not what it is. Some people describe it as like a dog man, like it's like human with fur. Yeah, crazy. So, and like one of the incidences that this guy described was he was fishing, heard a noise, he looked back, and this huge creature was just like it came into the sun, and it was actually pretty. It was beautiful, I think is what the guy used, the word he used. And then Bigfoot saw that he was being watched and tried to blend in with the tree, but he was too big to blend in with the tree. So he took off running. Real, not real.
How old is this guy?
I don't know. They're older. Like this guy, like there's museums, I think. Like he works in a place that is trying to find or search Bigfoot.
I want to work there. That would be cool.
I mean, maybe Bigfoot is just like this whole other world that we don't really know about. Like, so I want to put it into like when it comes to aliens or Bigfoot or terrifying creatures, I look at the spiritual world. And I'm like, demons exist. Demons can take any form, I would say, that they want. So why can't they? Like, especially whenever you hear about the terrifying incidences of people finding creatures, that's probably a demon just taking that form. Or maybe this just popped into my head. Maybe they're trying to be beautiful to lure you in to their world.
Why would he run away if he's trying to lure him in?
I don't know. See, I don't know. That story didn't. I was just like, what are you talking about, brother? I don't know.
He could feel the ground shaking.
Yeah, when it ran away. So yeah, I look at the spiritual warfare of like there's a whole spiritual world that is literally going on around us right now that we cannot see. There's angels here. The one guy was like, so these blurry creatures, they're Christians. They base their philosophy and research on the Bible. Some of it's like, okay, yeah, that's probably actually honestly true. But some of it's like, no, that's not true, what you're saying. But they would say, like, if you think of, okay, let's say Bigfoot is real. Let's say aliens are real. Are we going to keep living how we're living? Maybe. But that changes our whole thought process on life and completely changes it. You know what I mean?
As far as like the humans being the only things that God created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it would completely change everything.
Mhm.
So it's
That's
like,
true.
okay, so if you would believe that, if those things are real, then it's
what
like,
does that mean for us?
yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Like, what are we doing? We got to research this stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, then we just live how we're living. And I was talking to some family members, and we are a small part of the galaxy. Who's to say that? I feel like, I don't know. They said this. They were like, who's to say that there's not other living things out in other galaxies?
Yeah, because like there's animals on the earth.
Yeah. And
like I don't think there is another line of like humans.
Right.
But there could be other creatures that we don't know about that don't have souls or whatever, like any other animal.
Yeah, I don't know. To say I would believe that there is other life, I would say I would not say yes, I believe that. Would I say no, I don't believe that? I don't really know. There's a lot of things where it's just like I don't really know, so I'm just not going to talk about it. And like if we would get to heaven and God would be like, Yes,
right in front of
aliens
you.
and Bigfoot are real. How did you not know that? Then I'd be like, hey, it didn't affect my life any. So solid. That's really cool, you know? Like that's kind of what my thought process is. It's just like any kind of stuff like that. When we get to heaven, if we were told that's real, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You know, God can do whatever he wants. It's God, so he can do whatever he wants. I think that's all I have to say.
Say something else.
While she's thinking, I'll talk a little bit more about the spiritual world. Have you ever watched The Conjuring?
No, I will never, ever.
I watched one movie, and I mean, it's exaggerated because it's a movie, but it's probably one of the most realistic things you can think of whenever it comes to the spiritual world and how much control Satan, like how much damage Satan can do. It's crazy. Oh, there was a story about I was gonna say. So with the like with demons or like creatures or whatever that we don't know about, um, there was this guy. He said he was at his house and he was in the garage and he heard something run across the roof. Um, and it was like a human type of sound almost. Like it wasn't like a huge animal, and there's no trees that like animals can jump from to their house. They don't have trees close to their house. And like the wife was home by herself and there was another lady that lived there with them for a while and they also heard it a couple times. And so they were like they were Christians. So they were like, is that demons? Like demons, like if you're a Christian, or if you have the belief in Christ that he will protect you, say like God has control over Satan. So were they only allowed to be on the roof? Because God was like, you cannot mess with them. You cannot. So was that their boundary? They couldn't go past their roof on the outside of the house?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Crazy.
I just have a hard time believing that Bigfoot would be real.
Yeah, same. If you would tell me that Bigfoot is an alien, if you would tell me that Bigfoot was maybe just a demon, I believe you.
That's more believable, yeah. Because there had like in the Bible times, people like had demons inside of them. What's to
Yeah.
keep demons from running around on Earth today? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So like
yeah.
sometimes I would say for demons to always have a bad vibe, I would tend to maybe disagree with. I feel like sometimes they could
Oh,
just look
okay.
as a
wolf in sheep's clothing.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
This is true. I never
that's
thought
why
of
I
that.
said the thing about like that guy saw Bigfoot
Mm-hmm.
and thought it was gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't demons be pretty? That's how they have to lure you sometimes. You know?
Satan is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays you. That's literally his job. That's what he
Mm-hmm.
does. So crazy.
I never thought of it that way, that they could actually be pretty. I always think of them just being like
Ugly,
terrifying.
terrifying creatures, yeah.
Yeah.
They gotta come in sweet packages or sometimes you just won't be tempted.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
So watch out. Be on your guard. Pray to the Lord. Ask him to protect you. Well, this was fun
This
to
was fun,
record.
yeah.
It was a good time. I feel like some of my information I didn't really know that much.
Yeah, me either.
But it was still fun to talk about.
Yeah. Also, all this stuff is like, do I believe it? Probably not. Is it fun to
Yeah.
talk about?
Oh,
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about being on the podcast?
Pretty good.
I feel like we got relaxed.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely. More than I was at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Mm-hmm.
thank you, Kristen, for being
you,
on the
Karina.
pod.
Of course.
Guys, she has her own podcast. If you want to go listen to it, it's called The Midget and the Model by Kristen Yoder and Shayla Bender. So, they've only had one.
Just one. it's not really that interesting either, so I'm just throwing that out there. Don't go and waste your time.
I listened to a little bit of it. It was a very
Yeah, she got bored of it, so that's a clear indicator.
Sorry. It wasn't that I was bored, it was just like, what is going on?
I think only me and Shayla and like our two other friends think it's funny because it's us.
Hey, you know what? That's just part of the social media world. Some people don't like it, some people do. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You decide if you like it.
Yeah.
All right. It's funny.
I'll put your Instagram in the description. You're alright with it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Can follow her. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.